Thank you so much for joining us here at House of Valentina. I know there are a million other things that can take your attention online, so I am just honored beyond words that you're visiting me here. And I hope that in return I can inspire you and we can just learn together about design. So today I thought it'd be really fun to go behind the scenes. I mean, when is it not fun to see that, right? We're always creating photo shoots for the site. Some of them go into publications. In fact, today's is actually for publication. So the material you will not be finding online. This is something very exclusive we wanted to create just for you. In fact, the house actually has some products that aren't even available on the market yet. So I've got to pull those out. They can't be in this shoot. So let's go behind the scenes and let's see what does it take to create a photo shoot. I'm just finishing up my morning coffee, and the truth is that when you're creating a lifestyle photo, it really needs the element of real life. And it can be difficult to really create that sort of feeling that someone was just there and there's something going on in that space. So a lot of times for me, I actually use my real life. So I was sitting here and I was having my cup of coffee and I was looking at the room and I was really thinking through what I wanted to do today. And I realized I like this. I'm going to keep this book. I was in a different chair, so I needed to switch over because I'm thinking through the angle of the camera and where I'm going to be shooting from. So I want the book in the shot and I want the idea of coffee in here, but I need to switch out my cup. And I may even make a fresh one because sometimes a half empty cup of coffee is really intriguing. It feels like, oh, well, somebody just hopped up from their chair. That's really cool. And then sometimes you just can't see that there's anything in it and it needs a little bit more in the cup. I may take out a few other things out of this, and the other thing I'm going to do is turn these lights off. Yellow lights are awful in photos. They make everything yellow, sallow, and dingy, so they're gone. So let me clean up and then we're gonna get started. Everybody thinks that it's best to take photos on a super sunny day, but the truth is that I actually prefer cloudy because it diffuses the light. Sometimes when the light is so bright, we have to try to cover the window. And I'm gonna try putting this linen over it because otherwise I have a huge streak straight down the room. That's not gonna photograph well, and I'm even worried about the video. I'm kind of rigging this because it doesn't really work this way, but we're just gonna make it work. Just try to open it. Now it's time to do a few little touches. First thing I do is make things not always crooked, and some things have to be very straight. So it's always a mix of things. I need to take this art piece out because this is actually a prototype. This will be available soon. It'll be limited edition, and I've partnered with a Danish company, but I can't put it up yet because it's not a permanent thing. So we're gonna take it out and take out a few things that are driving me crazy. Like this vase. Let's start with that. It's not right. I don't know. Sometimes I just look at things and they just don't feel right. Maybe that's just is that how you design things? I don't know. What I think through is it's almost like reading. When you read a book, you go from left to right, unless you're Arabic, and then I don't know how you design your houses. Maybe that's why they design their houses differently. But for me, I look at what I'm doing and I'm reading basically from left to right, and the eye roams almost in a zigzag pattern. So I'm starting up here and the eye will move across and then down, which is why I've moved my book and my cup of coffee down here. And because there's so much going on right here, I'm gonna make this quite simple. That's why I took those things out, because it was just way too crazy. Sometimes I like images that have a lot going on, but in this room, I have this cabinet that is packed full of stuff. So I want to create ways for the eye to relax. One minute it's seeing a lot, and the next minute it has a place to rest. So it's always balancing the eye and the things. So let me take these things out. I'm also going to take this chair out. It doesn't actually really go here, so let's take this out too. Heavy. Okay. So I'm taking out the screws. I actually have other artwork that I normally have up here, but this is kind of an area where I'm always changing things out. So I'll probably have to paint the wall at some point because I keep putting all kinds of different things up. But it's more of like a test wall for me. So I really enjoy switching things out and trying things. I will actually edit these out in post-processing. I don't do a lot of that, but for this, it's just easier. It's a quick clone and move on with life. I hate having cords in my photos. So a lot of times I unplug things and move them out of the shot. It's too much work to try to edit them out, and it's really not pretty. Unless I'm going for something really edgy, and then every now and then I'll leave them, but not for today. My most creative days by far are the weekends. Saturday, Sunday, I'm infinitely more relaxed. I'm not worried about school schedules and kids going this way and that way, and there's no more emails. I really try to just get offline. And I really recommend this to you too. You really need to give yourself a chance to really allow your creative thought to roam. And if you're constantly filling your mind with information, it doesn't have a chance. You need time for imagination and curiosity and thought. So really take time on the weekends to disconnect at least some, maybe not the entire weekend, but really just give yourself some space to create. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll create a space over the weekends that I know I'll shoot during the week. And that's what I've done here. So I've brought in some of the greeneries, which luckily for me, greeneries survive more than a day. Sometimes I have to just wait until the day of to buy the florals, or I'll buy them once and then buy them again, or tweak them or something like that. So that's just how I typically work. We'll see. I mean, sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. Sometimes you have to be under the gun. I've got a deadline. I've got to set it up, shoot it that day, and I just try my best to be relaxed and get into the mood before I arrive at my shoot. The other thing you should know is that in the background, it's messy. Life is messy in general, so don't be worried about your house being messy. A lot of times these styled shoots intimidate people. They feel like, well, my house doesn't look like that. Nobody's house looks like the catalog. If it does, then nobody's living in it. And I think that there's been a huge shift where we're starting to want and crave and demand more spaces that feel lived in. But when it comes to a photo shoot, there has to still be some aspect of styling to it. Otherwise, maybe I think it's just a bit too chaotic. And so I'm always trying to balance the real life and what I'm shooting. Your audience doesn't know that there isn't a window facing the cabinet. So when you're photographing a room, you may do things that in real life are not going to make sense. Typically, I'm not going to have greenery in this cabinet because these would die. They wouldn't have any sunlight at all. But for a photo shoot, I'm trying to think of all the different aspects of what the eye is going to see. And so a lot of times you are faking certain aspects, and I think that the viewer kind of knows that. They kind of know your house doesn't look like this every single day. But if they don't know, then that's why we're doing these behind the scenes, because I want people to know. I don't want people to feel like, well, my space should look like this all the time. And if it doesn't, sometimes we can feel really bad about ourselves. You should never feel bad about your home. No one's house is ever perfect. Don't worry about it. But, you know, if you're styling something for a photo shoot, think outside the box. It doesn't always have to be just how it would be in real life either. As I shoot this, I will probably try it both ways. One with the doors shut, and then another with the doors open, so that the viewer can really get a feel for what the room really feels like. Because a lot of times the glass makes it so that you really can't see in. We'll try it closed first. So right now, one of the things that I'm thinking through is the way that the light from the ceiling, how it plays off with the plant. Because if you've got something really high up and then this is hanging here, your eye visually, sometimes it's okay for things to be layered and they need to be layered, and other times it really throws the eye off. So I'm kind of looking to see how is this going to be shot from this angle, and I think actually it would look really good, so I'm going to leave it. Actually, I really like this. I may just shoot it like this. So I've got my angles here. I'm going to shoot it this way, I'm going to shoot it this way, and when I need to, I'll take down the linen when I want to get the window in it. So yeah, I'm going to get started. None of my walls are straight in this old house, so it really makes things a bit complicated when you're trying to make an image straight. You just really have to think through what you want to be straight. Let's see what I should do. ISO up. I'm going to just do 1600. I would prefer for it to be lower, but I'm not going to get that option today. And then f-stops, preferably above 10, but sometimes I have to take it lower because I literally cannot get enough light in because it's the Nordic and that's all I can do. So just do the best that you can. If you're shooting with a DSLR, try to get your ISO a little bit lower and your f-stops as high as you can. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you've enjoyed this little behind the scenes, little peek into how we do things. I'm delighted beyond words that you've subscribed, and we hope to treat you to more exclusive content, more behind the scenes peeks. You deserve it. We're really appreciative. Don't forget, you can find us daily at Instagram and YouTube and of course Pinterest. And of course, houseofvalentina.com. So we'll see you soon. Bye.